Hey guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. John and I are here tonight to do another episode of Wildcat Weekly.
Thank you for tuning in to College SportsCast. College SportsCast presents Wildcat Weekly.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is Brad with College SportsCast. I've got John Hammonds on here with me tonight. What's up, Hammonds?
What's going on, my fella?
So we got a busy show for you guys, but before we get started here, man, we are going to talk about our Facebook real quick. If you enjoy our stuff and our content, man, we would greatly appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button, man. It's only 99 cents a month. That's all we ask. We try to do as little as possible for you guys as far as the amount that you have to come up with. But, man, we try to give you guys a content page, a subscribers page, and a chat. And we're in there every day trying to give information and do things. And also, I'm kind of in there sometimes just goofing around and having a little fun. But we do that as well. So hit that subscribe, and we appreciate you. We're also growing tremendously on Facebook, and we appreciate you liking, sharing, telling your family, and all that kind of stuff. And if you are on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. We keep growing on YouTube and getting closer and closer to being able to do monetize and do a little bit on YouTube as well. So hit that like and subscribe on YouTube or on Facebook. Facebook is 99 cents a month for a subscription, but you can hit that on both. So just want to put that out there. And then while we are doing this show, at the top left corner of the screen, you will see a QR code. This QR code for our Wildcat Weekly show is Home Field Apparel. If you're looking for some really cool retro vintage Kentucky gear, man, this is the place to get it. They have some really cool stuff at Home Field Apparel. And there is over 190, I think, now teams that they collegiate license that they carry. But if you're a Kentucky fan, man, this is the place to get your, the untouchables, the unforgettables, all kinds of cool stuff, cool logos, retro logos, and things of that nature. Use our code CSCAST or just use that QR code at the top of the screen. I'm going to leave that up as we talk. And then, John, before we move on to our next segment, we do have a guest. But before we move on to that, if you want to hit up your little sis's.
Yeah. My little sis has got, a thing coming in March where she's giving out to the community, whether it's clothes, soap, hand sanitizer, whatever, clothes. They're going to feed people. It's something just to help the community. I think she's doing a wonderful job with it. She's got a big heart, like I said. I share it quite often. Her name is Timberly Frederick. If you want information, just look at my page and go follow her. They're still needing things. Not sure what they need, but pop. Like I said, soap. Necessity things that can keep you, in the home, things that are a necessity to be around, the house, towels, whatever you need. So, So
basically stuff just trying to help out the unfortunate and things of that nature, I believe.
Exactly. So,
go help out. The less fortunate people, if you are, one of them, this is something that's helping them out. And if you can afford to donate and give something for them, just look it up on John's Facebook page. And it's sometime in March. I'm not sure the exact date just yet.
Yeah, it's sometime in March. So,
All right. We're just trying to help her out a little bit here at College Sportscast, but we do have a guest here tonight with us, John. Next up, we're going to welcome in Joseph Decker of Next Up Recruits. And let me get him pulled up here on the screen for you guys. There he is. What's up, Joseph?
What's up, guys? Once again, thanks for having me on. Hope y'all are doing well.
I appreciate you being on with us, man. Joseph is with Next Up Recruits here in the state of Kentucky. And I am just going to give you the platform here and tell us a little bit about what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, so Next Up Recruits is an NCAA certified scouting service that has been around since 2012. It was started by Taylor Hicks, who in my humble opinion is one of the best scouts in the country. And about November 2024, he took a chance, having me be a part of the business. It was just him at the time. So he wanted me to come on and kind of take over the program, take over the platform, take over as the head scout and kind of start working and doing a lot of work. Our whole goal is like almost any scouting service, 24/7 on 3 ESPN, promote these kids, help them with college opportunities, help them with college looks and, get them to that next level, but also get them that respect they deserve, as a player, so we do rankings, we do articles, we do all kinds of stuff. We have a camp every year that we do in Lexington, Kentucky that always does really well. But Next Up Recruits is kind of that, go-to social media platform in the state of Kentucky for Kentucky high school basketball. They've been doing it, like I said, since 2012. And, it's fun. You get to travel around the country, watch some of the top players, do scouting reports, build relationships with these guys. But my absolute favorite part is being able to be friends with these college coaches, build relationships with them. I'm just 18 years old. So when I started with Next Up Recruits, I was 16. So, getting into it pretty early, you still have those, moments where you turn into a fanboy, meeting Mark Pope, meeting John Calipari, meeting Patino for the first time, meeting Dan Hurley. You got to stay professional. You obviously want to build a relationship with them where they can help you out and you help them. But it's hard sometimes at that moment not to, kind of be like, hey, you're watching that guy on TV for over a decade. He's one of the best at what he does. So it's a tremendous opportunity. I've been really blessed. And, every day I try to help out more and more of these players around the state and kind of help them push toward that goal that all of them's working for, and that's getting to the next level and, getting an education at the next level and, continuing their athletic career.
I got a question. Do you cover just the boys or do you do boys and girls at Next Up?
So when I started, I was individually doing my own thing at the time. I do a podcast as well called The Joe Show, and it's where we typically only cover Kentucky high school basketball. We've had some college coaches come on there, but it's mainly Kentucky high school basketball. But it's mainly always been boys. I'll be honest, I've always been more into the boys side of things, and just been closer with guys. So it was easier to kind of jump in and like, hey, first episode, let's get this guy on here because you've known him for so long. And there were some early guests where we had some really good girls from around the states on. Peyton Bradley joined me. She's currently playing at Louisville. We had Carrie Ann Williams, who is second all-time in blocks in KHSAA. She's actually scored 2,000 points and grabbed 1,500 rebounds. She's from Evanston County, Kentucky. So I always try to promote and help out some of the girls around the state as well. I'm typically only at the boys events. I'll be honest, I scout the boys side a lot better. It's two different games in a way. It really is. At the end of the day, you're trying to go out there and score, but there's a lot more that goes into it. But no, mainly just boys. There's some girls content out there. We've had a lot of people requesting we do more girls, so I've been trying to do some more girls and my own way, like on my main pages. But as Next Up, we just do boys high school basketball around the country. And you guys have a website? We do. The best way to reach us on our website is nextuprecruits.net. On there, you can see our rankings, how we scout, what we do. You can read our articles. You can actually go through our camp alumni, which is something pretty cool to look through. We've had every Kentucky Mr. Basketball since 2012. I think we've had 8 players who's currently in the NBA attend our camp. And you can actually see some of our camp information from our previous camp in case maybe you're interested in attending that September coming up, But you can see our rankings. You can get our email in case you ever want to reach out to us. A lot of people send us in film, send us in stats, send us in things they want us to see so their son can be easily recruited. But yeah, you can go to our website, nextuprecruits.net, and you can find a lot more information on there as well. That's cool, man. I just wanted to give you the platform to, let you get your website out and that kind of stuff.
Let's switch it up. And like, this is about the time of year where, the districts are fixing to be starting up here and beginning here not too long from now. And, the seasons are kind of winding down. So let's talk about the, Kentucky high school basketball for just a few minutes. John, do you have a question or two you want to ask Joseph?
I just kind of want to go at, like, who is some of the guys that you've paid attention to that you've watched? I know around here I've noticed Grayson Burton. He's a really good player. Jake Fieldhouse, the Evan Ellis kid from Corbin. I'm gonna look at the 13th region. I think Madison Central's in I think they're in the they're in the 11th region. That's right. Which region do you think is going to be most wide open when it comes to tournament play?
Well, I'll say this first. Kentucky high school basketball at the day it is right now is probably as talented as it's ever been. And that's saying something because it's always been, one of the better states. I think it's always out there outside of, the Californias, Texases, Floridas, New Yorks. With the population, it's hard to compete. But especially if you look at the kids that have left the state, like a Tyron Stokes, like a Taylon Kinney, Jasper Johnson, who's at Kentucky right now. The talent in the state the last 2 years has been off the charts. And this year it's even better, I think, all around. But no, I think you talk about Madison Central and you look at that 11th region. It's as wide open as any other region in the state. And, you have your favorites, obviously. Madison Central is the favorite right now, but then you look and you got Frederick Douglass, Lexington Catholic, Bryan Station, all teams ranked in the top 25. And I immediately think of the 7th region when you ask me, which is the city of Louisville. So you have St. X, you have Christian Academy Louisville, you have Ballard, you have Louisville Male, you have Eastern, all these schools. And the 7th and the 11th are pretty typically your two best regions because it is the city of Lexington, maybe a county on the outskirts, like, for instance, Madison Central. And then the 7th region is always those inner city Louisville schools. But there's some other really talented regions out there, the 4th region being Bowling Green and, the surrounding counties. It's always strong. You usually have the Purples and Warren Central coming out of there, but Warren Central's having a phenomenal season. But I'd say the 7th and the 11th are two of the better regions. The 9th is always pretty competitive. Plus, it's kind of the outer skirts of Cincinnati toward Covington. You got your Campbell County, stuff like that. So Covington Catholic's actually the number 1 ranked team in the state right now, coached by Jake Thielen. They're having a terrific season. But just kind of hitting back, talking about Kentucky high school basketball, it's in a great spot right now. The KHSAA does a phenomenal job. The way the state tournament is set up is 0 to none, where we have 16 regions where they all get a chance to go play for one trophy. I think we're one of the last remaining. We might be the last remaining state that does it off regions and not necessarily classes. So I love how they do it. It's a surreal experience. If you've never been to the state tournament, I highly recommend it. It's the 18th through the 21st this year at Rupp Arena. If you're media, it's pretty easy to get credentials. They allow a lot of people in there. And then ticket prices are always pretty cheap, and you can get day passes where you catch all 4 games. And it's just a great experience. But, yeah, the state's in really good hands right now. And I would say the 7th and the 11th region are those two regions. It's pretty wide open right now that everybody's kind of saying, hey, whoever makes it out of this region has a real serious shot to win it all.
Yeah, you mentioned real quick. Real quick. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Hang on. Just give me one team from a district that you think would be a sleeper that might come out of a district.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say they're the sleeper because in their district, they're kind of the favorite right now. But I look at the 8th region and I go to North Oldham. They're 19-5 right now. They're 7-0 in region. But a cool fact, and you guys have probably seen him around social media a little bit, their number 1 player is Pierre Rondo, and that is the son of, obviously, probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Rajon Rondo played at Kentucky.
8th grader. 8th grader.
Yeah. They're coached by, and I'm not going to say he's the best coach of the state, but I seriously think he has a very good debate. I don't ever really say who's the best, but David Levitch is a phenomenal coach. He's young. He's just 30 years old. He actually played under Coach Patino at Louisville. So he's a phenomenal coach. He's got a really talented team up there in the 8th region. They play everybody, and that's what I respect about them. They're always built for tournament time. And a lot of people's going to look at them and say, well, they got a lot of sophomores. They got a lot of juniors. They're point guards and 8th grader, so they can't compete yet. But just looking at the physical dominance they show despite their age, as good as they are defensively, they held their biggest rival, which is South Oldham, who usually scores around 80 a game, to 28 points. They beat them 61-28. But a lot of people's going to say, well, they're too young, but Pierre Rondo plays leaps and bounds above his age. Coach Levitch has been there not just as a player but a coach before. He's got a really talented roster. I think they're a team, and they dropped the region draws, and they're on the right side of the bracket, which is a little weaker than the left. The left is a little tougher this year, but North Oldham could seriously get some momentum going into the state tournament, win that first game. They'll have to likely get by the 6th region, which is pretty tough this year with J-Town. But North Oldham's a team that, hey, I wouldn't sleep on them. You're going to have people telling you that, hey, they're too young. And they might be too young. Maybe it is next year where they seriously compete. But they're a great team. They're coached well. They guard, and they have a really good point guard. And those are three things that always come into play. One thing that people say is defense travels. And, going up there to Rupp Arena, their defense is going to come into play. And once again, their point guard, Pierre, is just a really, really talented ball player. So I would say North Oldham's one of those teams to keep your eye on.
To kind of back off what you said a minute ago, you was talking about Bryan Station. They have a kid by the name of Amari Owens.
Yeah.
That is not getting any – this kid is averaging, I think, 25 a night. He can flat play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just want you to kind of give me your thoughts on Amari Owens. Like, I watched him play the other night, and this kid is D1 top talent.
He is, yeah. Yeah, Amari is, and so the thing with Amari is he actually committed around fall time. So he's going to EKU, Eastern Kentucky. So he's kind of going to keep his talents at home. His dad was a phenomenal basketball player as well. His dad played in Boyd County, Antonio Owens. He was one of the better players in Kentucky, I believe, in the early 2000s. Just a really talented player. So a lot of people knew Amari was going to have that. He kind of had some, family history. But, yeah, Amari is a really talented basketball player, man. He's a true point guard, but he's got an excellent left hand. He gets downhill. He scores around the rim. He's just an impact player. There's guys out there that you can look at and say, okay, he's got what it takes. And he goes out there and he proves it. He recently passed someone. I can't remember their name, so excuse me on that. But he recently is now Bryan Station's all-time leading scorer, which is a big-time flex. I believe he scored over 2,300 points for his high school career. And I know he's chasing that Fayette County all-time scoring record, which would be surreal if he could get that, with obviously Fayette County being Lexington. So many good basketball players that came through there. But, yeah, Amari he's a really good ball player. I think Coach A.W. Hamilton at EKU is getting a stud with Amari. And a lot of people hold against him is that, he's ball dominant at times. But, Amari has been improving his shot for 2 years now. He's kind of learning to play off the ball better. So he's got a chance. He really does. I tell him all the time, I think his best basketball is ahead of him. And that's saying something, judging how good he is now. But, being around Coach A.W. Hamilton and Coach Steve Lepore, those are two of the best in the business. I know EKU doesn't get as much love as they deserve, but those are two phenomenal coaches who's not just going to help him as a person, but, skill development all the way around. Amari Owens is a name we'll be hearing for another 4 to 5 years, after today.
Give me some 2026 guys. Who's some 2026 guys?
Yeah, and the 26 class is kind of what's been talking about the most here. And I know I told you backstage that the 28 class is so loaded, but that 26 class is the senior group, and that's ultimately who decides, who's Kentucky Mr. Basketball. But the top names that kind of headline it, I know you mentioned the 13th region, Reese Davidson at Laurel, North Laurel, He's a phenomenal player. He's a 6'8" forward. He's going to Liberty. He is the cousin of Reed Shepard, so he's a North Laurel native. He played with Reed at an early age, so he's a really talented player. Carrion Berry actually recently got eligible about mid-January. He's very debatably the best player in that class. He's a 6'6" wing. I believe he has 16 Division I offers. He's played at about the highest level. He was actually with Prolific Prep, which is the number 1 ranked high school in the country right now. They're a prep out of Florida, Boca Raton. He actually played there this summer before deciding to come back home. He's at North Hardin. Jake Feldhouse, who you guys mentioned at Madison Central. Obviously, his dad was, one of the unforgettables at Kentucky. So pretty cool to see him doing what he's doing at Madison Central. He's committed to Belmont. He's got a really bright future. We mentioned Amari Owens. Jonathan Moss, who you could have a very well debate is the best point guard in the state. He's a 3-star. He's rated nationally. He's at Davis County. I believe he's averaging 24 points and 7 assists right now. Just a true offensive talent. Cole Edlin actually was deemed by some college coaches and scouts the best shooter in the country. He's a 6'1" combo guard. He played with Wildcat Select during AAU, which is Talon Kinney's team. A lot of people know his name, and they were a really good duo. He's committed to Western Kentucky. Coach Plona's getting a very good player with that one. But the list is deep. I believe so far there's been about 12 players commit. Well, I think there's 9 players who's committed Division I so far, and then the other 3 that's like, I believe, we have guys ranked number 2, 4, and 6 that aren't committed yet. You kind of know they're going to end up Division I. So a lot of people early said this 26 class wasn't super strong, obviously, because the 25 class that just came through sent 21 guys Division I, and that's going to be hard to beat. That's going to be tough to beat. That was a really good class. It's headlined by Malachi Moreno. You throw Jasper Johnson back in there. That's another kid who went Division I. Obviously, he left his sophomore year, but this 26 class is pretty solid. It's got some really good mid-major talent, and it's got some guys who's going to go low major and kind of have to work and grind things out. But, I really like this class's future, if that makes sense. I think 2-3 years down the line, we could see him playing at a higher level, have a chance to kill. But the 26 class, it's pretty loaded, man. And Jacob Spurlock's a guy I forgot. He's committed to Youngstown State. He is, to some people, the favorite for Kentucky Mr. Basketball. He's going to end up scoring over 2,500 points, grabbing over 1,000 rebounds, and he's second all-time in three-pointers made. So that just kind of speaks volumes to how good this class is when I'm sitting here naming guys, and I forget a guy like that for a second. So, yeah, it's a really good class.
And then you got the kid, Braxton Keatley. This kid, he just goes off every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah.
And if Mark Pope, if you're listening, he's a great talent.
Yeah.
He can get it done. And you was talking about Malachi. Malachi's earning some money.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he has.
The kid's earning some money.
So the 27 and 28 classes, your juniors and sophomores this year, kind of run through a few names out of those classes for us.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think John just mentioned kind of the top junior, which is Braxton Keithley. Braxton's a name you got to watch. He's putting up historic numbers in the state of Kentucky, and it translates to, he had a really productive offseason. And one thing when I scout, and it's tough sometimes because not every region in Kentucky is as strong as the other. You're going to have weaker games. Sometimes you got to judge competition to a T, but Braxton took it to the next level and played for 3SSB, which is Adidas's AAU circuit, which is one of the top 4 biggest ones right there with EYBL and Nike. And he performed. He played great against other top 100 guys in the country, other top 150 guys. He had college coaches all around watching him. I know Florida State reached out to him, Kentucky, Louisville. He had so many schools reach out to him because of his performances. He's a legit player, man, and his work ethic is what speaks to me. I know his dad, Kevin, and his mom, Leanne, pretty well, and I know Braxton. He's a tremendous worker, and I'm always going to respect somebody who wants it. Jack Logston out of Grayson County, he's a 6'6" shooting guard. He's committed to Western Kentucky. He's an early commit. A lot of people say junior and say already committed. But they offered him that full ride. They said they loved his game. They loved what he had to offer. They think he's a Western kid at heart. So he's a phenomenal player. Armani Bird, who's in that 4th region.
I'm pretty close to Western where I am. So yeah. I appreciate the Western kids.
Yeah. Well, the second guy now that I'm going to talk about is Armani Bird out of Warren Central, that 4th region, going back to it. He's a 6'7", long, lengthy forward who is explosive. He's good for about a putback dunk a night. Westerns reach out to him, so it's pretty cool to see them still recruiting, that inner city Bowling Green. You mentioned Braxton Keithley, but Jeri Brown out of Webb Du Bois, which is an inner city school in Louisville. He's already surpassed 2,000 points. He was just on a visit to Michigan, number 1 team in the country, 2 days ago. So he's getting some national love. Montez Gay at Clark County, George Rogers Clark. I think he holds 4 Division I offers. He's a pretty fun talent. And then Matthew Lange, who is one that I want to shout out here, and then we can kind of move on to that 28 class. His dad, Dan Lange, played at Vanderbilt and played in the NBA for several years. Matthew is a 6'7" 2 guard, but he's really fun to watch, man. Offensively, he's as talented as anybody we've talked about tonight. He's really got a shot. He's in Marshall County, so he's about 2.5 hours from me. John, if you say you're in the 13th region, that's even farther for you. He's all the way about 10 minutes from Paducah. But he just actually recently got his first Division I offer from Indiana State, and Indiana State does a phenomenal job recruiting the state of Kentucky. And it's pretty cool because you hear Indiana State and you think about Larry Bird. So it's always pretty cool. But yeah, those are some of those top 27 names, in that junior class.
What's the kid from Lee County? Corey Flincham.
He's leading the state in scoring right now.
Oh,
I think he's averaging, I think it's 37.9, but he's almost averaging 38 points a game, man. He's having a really good season. Corey and his dad, Dustin, are both really good people, and he deserves this, and I'm interested to see more colleges starting to get involved with him. But yeah, he's a player, man.
So the 28 class, I know you said it may be,
Yeah.
if they all stay together and don't leave the state, because that's something that Kentucky has to worry about. But the 28 class could be potentially.
Well, yeah. Headlining it right now is Josh Lindsey. He's had just about every high major in the country reach out to him: Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisville. He's actually been offered by Indiana already. He is at St. X, and I'll just kind of name those top guys. So Josh Lindsey, Jordan Mitchell, Boogie Cook, Trey Hillerich are all ranked top 100 by some scouting services. I believe Josh is as high as 16 by On3. I believe 24/7 has him top 25. I know Boogie Cook is ranked as high as 20. They're just getting this national attention early, and obviously they still got to live up to it. It's early. They're sophomores, so they got a lot to prove. But I'll just run through some of the names. Josh Lindsey out of St. X, Jordan Mitchell from Male. He's been offered by Virginia Tech. He's averaging, I believe, 24 a game right now. He's a 6'4" guard. Another kid who Dusty May had on campus at Michigan on a visit, Andrew Terry, who is more kind of toward Eastern Kentucky. He's in the 10th region at Montgomery County. He's a really special talent. He's a 6'8" forward. He's strong. He can be a brute down there, but he also shoots it. He's got, I believe, 2 Division I offers right now from Jacksonville State and EKU. He was actually at Western Kentucky 2 nights ago on a little visit. And then Boogie Cook's got Kansas State, Texas A&M, Indiana, Virginia Tech, starting, your recruiting process off with 4 high majors kind of says something. He's got a chance to be something really special. He's a 6'7" forward. He's playing under Tim Riley at Christian Academy, who's one of the best coaches in the country. And then Trey Hillerich is a 6'10" center who is playing at Male as well. So he teams up with Jordan Mitchell. They got 2 really talented guys there. Hillerich is out right now with an ACL injury. He'll be back for next year, but he's took visits to Auburn, Miami, Ohio, 2 of the top, Miami, Ohio's, debatably the best mid-major in the country right now. They've not lost. And then we all know what Auburn is when they're rolling. But he holds a Division I offer from Eastern Tennessee State. And Jamie Shaw, who's one of the better scouts in the country for On3, said that he's a top big man prospect in the world, so that carries some weight. But that class all around goes extremely deep. You have a kid named Joaquin Siakam, who is, pretty renownedly known in that class as a top 10 kid. And his uncle is Pascal Siakam, who's playing at Indiana Pacers right now. So there's a lot of talent. You look from the outside right now, there could legitimately be 20 kids go Division I in that class with possibly 4 to 5 high major. Now, obviously I say possibly because with the way the recruiting process is now, the way coaches are, a lot of times kids go a step down because they have the portal, they have the overseas players. Now we're talking about G leaguers finding their way into the college basketball, and even some guys who played NBA minutes. So it's always harder to judge now. But yeah, that 28 class has a chance to be something really special. It really does.
Don't get Brad started on that one tonight.
No, I'm gonna wrap this up with you pretty quick, but just quickly, man. UK caliber players. I know you've named a bunch tonight. Just that Mark Pope, you think maybe could recruit here that would be in-state kids out of these classes that we talked about.
I immediately go back to that 28 class that we were just talking about. Assistant coach Cody Fugger was recently at St. X to watch Christian Academy play St. X, and that featured 2 guys, Josh Lindsey and Boogie Cook, who we were just talking about. They're 2 of the top 20 ranked players in the country by On3 and 24/7. So they're getting that national love. They've got high major offers already. They're playing at the highest circuits off the court, and they're producing at the high school level. So I would say, Coach Mark Pope's going to be keeping an eye on guys like Josh Lindsey, Jordan Mitchell, Boogie Cook. Those are 3 names that really stand out in that 28 class. But you never know. There's obviously kids that's going to grow and improve. I know this isn't one of the classes we talked about, but Mason Grivna, who is a freshman at Ballard, he is 6'11", and he is commonly kind of known as the best prospect in the state because he's a 6'11" stretch big who shoots it, rebounds, dunks it, blocks everything. He's giving very early Malachi Moreno-esque vibes, and he's already hearing from Indiana. He's already having Kentucky come watch his games. Louisville, obviously not getting, some offers early, but he's got Virginia Tech. He's got Arizona State, and he's a freshman. So I think Mason Grivna is going to be someone who's going to be recruited by Mark Pope. I think you can kind of bookmark that early. He'll be a McDonald's All-American more than likely. He'll be one of the top players.
I'm sure Rondo will be as well. I'm sure.
Yeah. And it's hard to predict that because he's in 8th grade, but I think you make a great point. That's how good he is already.
That's way down the road.
The thing I look at it from that perspective, Joe, is sometimes they want to pave their own way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he don't want to go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
But sometimes you step into your father's footsteps and you step in the shadow, and sometimes that can be too much for some kids.
It can, yeah. Hey, you guys are Kentucky guys, and, Pat Kelsey at Louisville loves guards, and, hey, North Oldham's about 15 minutes from the University of Louisville, so you never know. PK could try to go in there and get his hands in on him, but he's going to have a really good recruitment, man. He's going to perform this summer. Rondo does a phenomenal job with him, and he's got a chance, and he's only going to keep getting better. But, yeah, those are just kind of some of those early names who I think, Coach Pope and his staff are keeping a pretty good eye on right now.
Joseph is from Next Up Recruits, man. I want to give you a shout out here for coming on with us tonight. I did keep you a little longer than I said I was going to.
You're good.
But we kind of got busy here and talking about a lot of good kids and a lot of stuff here. So I wanted to kind of keep you on. But before we let you go, I just want to give you one last chance to kind of talk about Next Up Recruits and your podcast, because you do have your own podcast too.
Yeah, I'll try to kind of keep it quick so I don't hold you too long. Next Up Recruits is the lead scouting service in the state of Kentucky. We're about to hit 70,000 followers on Twitter, and I want to thank everybody. The support is amazing. We do player rankings. We do player evaluations. We sell the scouting service to college coaches. We're certified by the NCAA. So Next Up Recruits does a really good job. We try to do a really good job to put out content, but also help college coaches. And, we've done a pretty good job at that. It was established in 2012 by Taylor Hicks, like I said. So it's been around for well over a decade, serving people all around the country. My podcast is The Joe Show. It's nothing too crazy. We get some viewers, and, we have fans tune in, and we have boys and coaches and Kentucky high school basketball players from around the state come on and talk about their seasons, their performances, their recruitment, and, just what this means to them. I always love giving these guys, a platform to speak on. We let them share with their faith. We let them have their teammates join them. I don't really hold them back. We go on there, we have a good time, and we try to put out good content. But I appreciate you guys. You guys do a really good job, man. And, I appreciate you all letting me have a platform to speak tonight and, come on here and, hopefully say something that somebody enjoyed or, had a good moment.
Yeah, man. Maybe as the tournament, gets going, maybe before state tournament or something, maybe we'll have you on again.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds good. We'll try to. I'll have John. We'll try to talk it out maybe before the state tournament begins or something, man, and have you on another time here.
All right. It sounds good. I appreciate you, Brad and John, for allowing me on.
All right, man. You have a good night, guys. This has been Joseph Decker with Next Up Recruits, and he has the Joe Show podcast, and just wanted to give him a shout out here tonight for coming on.
That dude's talented, man.
He is. He has a lot of knowledge. That's what I was going to say.
He's knowledgeable, man.
And just throwing this out there, he's an 18-year-old kid, guys.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive to be that dedicated, work that hard, to be an 18-year-old kid. I have a son that just turned 19 like 8 or 10 days ago, something like that. So I know my kid is dedicated, works hard. He is a good kid. I'm not going to say he's not, because he is. But you don't find too many 18, 19-year-old kids that is that dedicated and work that hard. So impressive dude, Joseph. Just want to say that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Looks like we have a few people on with us that probably follows Joseph, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys being on.
Appreciate it.
So I want to post a couple of things here. And just want to appreciate you guys coming on our show. We appreciate Joseph, and we'll try to have him on again maybe before the state tournament. That would be a pretty cool show to do, and have him on again. All right, John, we're going to get to some Kentucky basketball stuff here, man. It was cool to kind of talk with him about some of the recruiting that's going on here in the state of Kentucky. But, John, we're going to get to Kentucky basketball. Kentucky fell short at Florida, 92-83. But, man, they fought really hard in that game. this Florida team is looking like a possible title contender again, to be honest with you, John. And Kentucky cut it to 5 with like 36 seconds to go.
Yeah, it just felt like the game was not out of reach, but every time Kentucky made a play, Florida just answered. You know,
we are just starting this part of the show. Joe just left, just like you can rewatch this anytime you want. He was on for about the first 34 minutes or so.
You know, Florida had, you know, that dominant front line, Brad. You know, they Thomas Houck, Alex Condon, you know, Chinyelu, he's the nation's leading rebounder. Cats pretty much got even with Florida on the boards at 20-20 in the first half.
They were
Kentucky was down 9 at halftime, I think, but a lot of that was due to turnovers. They turned it over 9 times, Brett. You just can't do
in the
that
first 10 minutes, John. They had 9 turnovers in the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of the game, they only had 5.
Well, the thing is Florida can make shots. Their strength is their front court, okay? But it's difficult to beat a team when they're shooting well. Xavier Lee had a coming out party. He hit 4 of 7, I think. I think he had 22 points. Urban Clavar hit some big shots.
I want to say this about Lee. We can't. I don't understand why we're going under screens. I just don't understand that.
That was another question I had.
Early in this game, I mean, listen, Lee's not been a great shooter most of this year, but he has been improving. And at this level, guys, I mean, you just can't go under screens like that. And they started out doing that. He hit his first, 4, John, something like that. Yeah. And they're going under screens.
I want to bring up another point that happened Saturday that most people probably even didn't realize was Otega Owe had 995 career points, and he became the 63rd 1,000-point scorer in Kentucky men's basketball history. Props.
Yeah. And only the 5th. Only 5 transfers have ever reached the 1,000-point scoring club for Kentucky. He's only the 5th ever transfer to make that list. Kyle Macy, Oscar Sheboy, Antonio Reeves. I'm missing one. I might think of it when we go on about the show, but he's the 5th ever transfer.
I'm going to say this about Florida, Brad. When Florida gets hot like that against Kentucky, that's an elite team.
They are, and they're long. They're so talented. They basically have 6'9", 6'10", 3 of them, power forward, like NBA style, on the floor at the same time. They hustle. They're well coached. Todd Golden is a great coach. You have to give him tip your cap to him. I mean, he's really a great coach.
I'm going to be frank with you, Brad. This Florida team is not a great shooting team, but they're so good on the perimeter, or not the perimeter, but the front line. They're bigs. Thomas Houck, he's down to the small forward position this year. And he still goes out and hits the 3. But what it does, it makes them better defensively and tougher to handle on the glass. And then when he goes back out and he hits shots like he hit a few of them Saturday, that changes this whole Florida team.
Well, when you have that kind of size on the floor, you have so much length. And I don't mean just tall. You have length in your defending, in your passing. So you were talking about those turnovers early. Like, you can deflect passes a lot better because you have that length out on the defense. And I think that stuff kind of helps this Florida team as well. Kentucky girls does that on the girls' side. And I think this Florida team uses that well. So let's talk about Denzel Aberdeen going back. And Denzel played really well, led the Cats with 19 points. Chandler Played really well. I think he wound up with 15, if I'm not mistaken, is what Chandler ended up with. Always struggled, still had about 14 points, I think, but he was 4 of 14.
You know what beat this team? You know what beat this team? Turnovers, and they missed layups.
The layups.
Like,
that's what Ole missed quite a few layups.
Simple drive to the goal underneath, whether he got fouled on one of them. And I'll tell you something else that really – I'm going to say this, and, you know, everybody's kind of been on Malachi Moreno all season at times. But if Malachi does – you know, if he's out of the game for a portion of what that game was, he probably gets blown out.
I'll be honest with you, John. I mean, he was in foul trouble in this game and did have to sit out. He only played 20 or 21 minutes. He only played half the game, had 11 points, 11 rebounds, and was the only guy down low that could, like, compete and grab rebounds with them consistently.
He stayed in foul trouble, though. That was his biggest issue.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Brad, the kid has earned some money, whether that's pro, whether that's coming back and Pope giving him a bag.
I just want to say this, man. Malachi, I sincerely hope that you come back, and that's not just from me as a Kentucky fan. The NBA game is a different animal right now. I believe you need to come back and gain some experience, gain some strength, and you're going to have to learn to be able to step out by 18, 20 feet at least to play.
You know something that really hurt Kentucky, though? Was the mismatches, like you said, with the screens. They struggled to match what Xavier Lee and Clavar was doing. You know, I feel like that was the main difference in this loss. Like, you know,
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, John. Some of them are probably moving screens, which doesn't help.
Well, I mean, you had a few of those in the Tennessee game, but listen, Kentucky's still a tournament team. They're 17-8. They're without Jalen Lowe, Jaden Quaintance. There's no time to rest for the weary, Brad. You know, they got Georgia coming up. They got Auburn Saturday, which Auburn is not. They're kind of looking iffy at this point. They're looking for an identity. This ain't your normal Auburn team that you've had the last couple of years. Now, Georgia, they've kind of fell behind the boat. You know, they started out in SEC play. Now they're kind of falling apart.
Nobody's talking about it, but the Wilkerson kid's been out injured.
Well,
so
the Wilkerson kid has been out, and that's really hurt Georgia because in some of their wins, he's had a lot to do with that. And in the losses to Tennessee, he's not in the. I think it was Florida. It might have been. I can't remember, but there was a couple losses in there where he just didn't play good, and in the wins he played good. So it's a. And tonight I don't even know if he's. I think the availability report was supposed to come out tonight, so we'll find out if he plays tomorrow.
I haven't had a chance to look.
If he don't play tomorrow, it's going to be tough sledding for Georgia without one of their top.
Kentucky did fall out of the AP poll. They slid in last week, was 25th. They lost to Florida and fell out this week, but their net rankings did not change. They were 28th last week. They remained 28 in the net rankings this week. John, that's around a 7 seed. If you're, somewhere, close to that 7 or 8 seed, probably right now, I think most of them have us as a 7 seed. It seems like that I have seen, John. I just want to give you a chance to talk about the net rankings and the quad wins and Kentucky's resume just a little bit here.
Well, I mean, you look at their resume, Brad. They're
5-7 in quad 1.
They're in Ken Palm. I think they're 27, 28. They're 5-7.
I think 5 wins is what, tied for 4th most.
They are. They're 5-7 against quad 1 opponents, and they just only have a 1 quad 2 loss, and that was Missouri, which is looking kind of large now. But you got them as a they're right on the edge of a 6 seed. Okay.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. We're talking about, going forward, what happens. So you got Georgia tomorrow night. Should be a winnable game, right? You got Auburn on the road.
This week we got Georgia tomorrow night at home. I just want to throw out, I will be there tomorrow night. Lord willing, if make it and everything, but I will be there tomorrow night to cover the Georgia game. And then we play at Auburn. Auburn's not been at what people kind of thought they were going to be. But that is a tough arena to play.
I feel like Auburn this year is so dependent on Holloway, or not Holloway, but Pettiford. Like, and Keyshawn has not played none. The last couple of games? The kid from UCF.
I think he's been suspended. I don't know if he's going to be.
I think he got in a little trouble. So who knows what he'll do this week? I know Auburn plays
team rules or something. I'm not sure exactly.
I'm not for sure, but I think don't they play Mississippi State? I think Wednesday night. I think it's on the road. Listen, this ain't your normal Auburn team. Most years, I would say that this would be a tough game going into the jungle, but I actually think Kentucky wins this game.
I think it's 2 winnable games this week.
Well, and then you got South Carolina on the road on Tuesday. And listen, I'm not spreading no hate towards South Carolina, but if you can't beat this South Carolina team, you might as well call the season. They're not great.
No,
they're just not.
So that could be 3 straight winnable games.
Well, then you got Vandy next weekend, and then you got Texas A&M on the road, and that's another game that I feel like hey,
Kentucky sliding a little bit. A&M's been sliding a little bit.
And then you got the rematch with Florida.
Yep.
Listen, I'm going to say this: if Kentucky can at least go. Florida's going to have to lose one somewhere down for them to even win the.
Kentucky has a chance, and I'm not going to sit here and say they are going to do it, but there is a chance that they could win 5 in a row if they play ball like they have been.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing: even if they don't win the SEC, I think you got to get that double bye. You got to get to Friday. Because the Thursday, you got to win that one. You got to win Friday. You got to win 4 games in 4 days. You got to win Thursday. You got to win Friday. You got to win Saturday. You got to win one Sunday. Like, that's too much. You need the Friday game in your back pocket.
As a fan, John, it's been a long time. I would love to get to that Florida game and us have a chance to win the SEC. Yeah, that would be super sweet.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. And then I'm going to be honest with you, John. Like you said, getting that double bye is going to be huge to play on Friday. I want to win a game or two. I would love to get to the finals of the SEC. I'm going
to say this, and Kentucky has played better. They're more in tune. They know their roles. You see, when Lowe went out, and you had Quaintance go out, everybody was kind of it was like a jigsaw puzzle. You didn't know what to do. But now everybody has a role. Like Denzel has a role. He starts at the guard. He kind of gets some fresh air when Jasper comes in off the bench. And Jasper hit a big 3 Saturday. Marino, like Garrison, it's made everybody, all their roles kind of, and this is who we are as a team. And this is what we're going to be going down the stretch. And they have proved in the last 7 or 8 games. Listen, Brad, they went on the road in a hostile environment in Florida and only lost. And I know people say, well, I don't like moral victories. Well, they only lost by 9 points. And there was a couple plays. If they don't,
to a team that had been killing folks.
Like by 30 points.
Yeah. their last like 4 or 5 wins before the Kentucky game, they had averaged by 28 points.
And I'm telling you, if you see the kind of grit and the toughness that you've seen the last 8 games, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm just going to say this straight out.
It's really been 10 or 12 now that they've been playing that way.
Say this straight out. If I'm a 2 seed and I see a 7 seed Kentucky sitting there, I'm not worried, but with how they played,
you know it's going to be a battle.
It kind of makes me think.
You know it's going to be a battle.
It kind of makes me think, hey, wait a minute. Kentucky's playing a lot better. They're coming into here with a chip on their shoulder. Denzel's playing better. Ortega, when he goes down the hill, he's playing good. Like, this will be a 40-minute scratch and claw thrill type game.
I mean, we got 6 games left. Then we got the SEC tournament. And then I know everybody's kind of looking forward to March and March Madness right now. But for me, I want to see this team put their head down and get somewhere in the SEC. John, I grew up in a time where most of my life, Kentucky was the dominant force in the SEC. There was just not very many teams that could even
It was basically the SEC tournament.
I mean, the regular season and then the SEC tournament was kind of Kentucky's for the taking, unless they messed it up. To be honest,
well,
I mean
that's why they call it Nash Vegas, Catlanta, like it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Kentucky
I'm ready. I'm just like, my focus right now, I'm ready to see this team put their head down and make some noise in the SEC. The March Madness stuff will work itself out if you finish off a good SEC run here.
Well, here's my thing. Let me say this real quick. Like, there was a couple years ago. Might have been, it was a couple years ago. I think it was the Texas A&M game where I think it was Coach Cal's last year when they lost to A&M and they come in and they lost to Oakland in the next round.
With so much talent.
With so much talent, with Reed Shepherd, DJ Wagner. They had a bunch of guys that
Antonio Reeves.
What's the kid in the middle? I'm trying to think. The Mitchell. Which Mitchell didn't look great towards the end of the year. He had gotten injured. He was not the same Mitchell that we had early in the season.
Yeah.
But I feel like a loss like that in an SEC tournament setting, then you go to the tournament March. I just feel like coming off a loss, you got so much weight on you. When if you win a game, you get a little momentum, like last year with Oklahoma. I'm going to leave you with this.
Kentucky has not played on Saturday, not Sunday, on Saturday in the SEC tournament since 2018.
Yep.
And they've not won the SEC tournament since 2017.
That's hard to believe.
So I'm ready for this Kentucky team, our Kentucky team, to make some noise in the SEC. I'm ready for them to make a run here to have a chance for the regular season crown. I'm not saying that we're better than Florida. I don't know that we can do that. But I think this team should have a chance. I really do.
Well,
and then, I think this team should be able to make a run to Sunday in the SEC tournament and give us a shot.
Well, you always say you're not a big fan of Jimmy Dykes at times, but Jimmy Dykes has always said that this was basically the Kentucky Invitational.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Every year. Fans come from everywhere. They go everywhere. So.
Appreciate you. Just want to put you on there for a minute, man. Appreciate you. All right, John. Like, that's my focus here with the men. I'm hoping they have a good week this week. And let's focus on the SEC, and let's focus on taking care of business and bringing home some hardware from the SEC would be really, really nice. And I know a lot of fans think only about the Final Four and winning a national title. I'm kind of old school, man. I want to focus on the SEC. All right, we are going to move to the women's side of things, man. The women got 2 wins this week. They 2 home games. They won against Texas A&M like they should have, to be quite honest with you. And then yesterday, John, they got a big, big win over number 14 Ole Miss at home, and stretched out the lead in the fourth quarter with a good 10-0 run when Ole Miss was kind of making a run there. Thanks to Clara Strack a whole lot, and beat Ole Miss 74-57 yesterday, and making kind of a statement with that game yesterday, John.
I use an old adage a lot. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think the girls are finally figuring things out. The Ole Miss win, they beat an A&M team that went to Alabama and won. SEC play is tough.
It is.
Kenny Brooks, people don't realize there's been a lot of frustration. They've lost to Vanderbilt, 2 points?
One.
They won. They had time without Tiani Key, which was very fatal for them.
They had a play. On the road, they had the ball with like 8 seconds to go, and it should have had a chance to beat Tennessee.
Well, and the thing is, everybody's going to look at that Texas game, but listen, I feel like Texas didn't play great. Kentucky,
it was a 1-point game with 5.5 minutes to go.
And the defense of Texas kind of put them away.
Yeah.
Brooks, I feel like shifting the lineup was better. He had Asia Boone. I think he started her in place of Obi.
Yeah.
And I felt like the energy, the way they came out was completely different.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Let's be honest, Brad. Like, sometimes you have to just switch things up. Now, Sunday's win is not probably going to put them in the hosting time, but I feel like they have put themselves in a great position for a 4 seed. Now, they're going to have opportunity Sunday. They're going to have a rematch at Vanderbilt. Like, can you go and beat Michaela Blake's on the road and do what they did to you at home?
It's going to be tough, that's for sure.
Georgia just beat Vanderbilt.
They did it at home, but
still counts all the same, especially in horseshoe hand grenades.
Yeah, that's almost yeah. All right, I do want to bring this up today. Clara Strack was named the Naismith Player of the Week. That's a big deal. She is one of the players for Player of the Year. So getting this late in the season as the Player of the Week is going to keep her in the running at least for a little bit longer, I would think, for Player of the Year. There's some strong candidates. I'm not a dummy. I do know that Clara's got a lot of ground to make up to be Player of the Year. But getting Naismith Player of the Week and being in the running is something to celebrate. I just want to give Clara a huge shout out here, man. I mean, yesterday when Ole Miss had chopped down the lead to a 6-point lead with about 5 or 6 minutes to go in the game yesterday, Clara Strack just took over. She had an up and under move. She had a ball fake and a blow by that I absolutely loved yesterday. She scored 8 straight points on a 10-0 run that puts the game back out to a 16-point game and kind of put the game away.
There was a point in this game where Kentucky had a 39-15 lead.
Yep, 39-15. Right before halftime.
They had a 19-0 run in the second quarter.
Yep.
And a lot of that had to do with Mia Hassett and Asia Boone.
Yeah. That's my next. Asia's my next.
That's what I wanted to bring up was Asia Boone. Like, this girl is just shining on the big stage right now. Like, she's hitting shots, she's hitting threes, she's driving to the gut. Like, she's doing everything that you want that type of player to do for you as a team.
Asia hit a corner three where she got fouled, man, and got knocked down, and just it was so awesome to see her in the corner just wailing, screaming her lungs out, and her teammates come over and pick her up. She knocks down the three. She was a big reason for that 19-0 run in the second quarter. Asia is shooting lights out right now, John. In the last 6 games, Asia is 24 of 46 from three-point land, 52.2%.
Impressive, Brad.
That's kind of good, isn't it?
Yep. I want to bring up something that is kind of dear to my heart while we're on this kind of topic. You know where I'm going with this. Yesterday, they wore pink.
Yep.
And if you're kind of wondering it was the annual Play for K game.
Yep.
And Kenny Brooks, it's special to him because his wife fought and defeated breast cancer.
Absolutely.
This game brings a lot of awareness to it and what a lot of people are fighting, especially with cancer.
I don't know if you look in the background there. Scratch is wearing the pink shirt there. That's the reason why he had on the pink shirt yesterday. There's kids there taking pictures with him. What a day. Some of the men's players was there yesterday wearing their pink. I don't know if you caught Denzel Aberdeen's press conference today. He was at the press conference. He was wearing that shirt that you see on Scratch at the press conference today even. And yes, it is about breast cancer research and awareness, and it's a big deal.
And to see the fight that they had coming out with that, what a better way to do it than on a day like that. Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. I loved it. I love, that the crowd and the team and the SEC, to be honest with you. The Play for K is an SEC thing. And the SEC to be a part of that and to donate that kind of money. There was a $1.2 million check given to research yesterday. So it's a big deal. And to be able to do that. So that's a lot of money to give to cancer research from just one of the SEC teams. So just a huge shout out to that. Asia though, man, for real, you was talking about that lineup change. Asia has been playing lights out. She was the one that was inserted into the lineup. She's more of a natural two guard. Tiani Key come back and see Jordan Obi when Tiani Key was out was really playing the four. And she was doing a little bit better when Tiani Key was out. Her individually, she was. And then when Tiani Key come back, it pushed Jordan Obi back to the two. And she's really not a two guard. And Asia is. And I was glad to see, I've been talking about there need to be some changes made. And Kenny made a late season change here and inserted Asia Boone into the two spot in the starting lineup. And I just want to say that seems to be really helping the team. That leaves Jordan Obi to come off the bench as the four, so she can be more at her natural position. And that opens her up down low to come in off the bench and spell the 4-5 positions. And then you got Asia And then you've got like Lexi Blue. You've got Kaylin Carroll that can spell Angel, that can spell Hassett. And you've got
you started to say Angel Reed.
yeah, I don't know where that come from. I have no idea.
Goodness.
That can spell Hassett. And then what I'm saying is it creates more of a rotation, a more natural rotation for this lineup. And I think the potential of that rotation, John, is going to be seen here late in the season and potentially for March.
Yep, I agree. I agree with
you.
you.
I mean, I think
it kind of changes the way they play. It might be something that unlocks something. So hopefully it continues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be big for them. So, all right, I've got a couple of things here. So the game yesterday, Ole Miss, 2 nights ago, the top 16 reveal happened in women's game, and Ole Miss was 15 at the time, and Kentucky was just on the outside of the top 16. The top 16 is important because they are the hosts of the first and second rounds in the NCAA tournament. That's the reason why it's important. Kentucky, now with that win over Ole Miss, at least, John, is back in contention probably to host again like they did last year and to have a Lexington regional at Memorial Coliseum, which would be big.
Yeah, I think they got to beat Vanderbilt. I think they got to win one of the last few games they've got.
Well, we play Auburn, which should be a win, and then you get Vanderbilt and South Carolina at home.
Yeah,
so
you probably
here's the deal. I think you got to win one of Vanderbilt or South Carolina.
Yep, and you get South Carolina at home. So,
yeah. All right, so Vandy. Let's talk real quick about them. Vandy, the girls have that bye week this week. The women have the bye week this week. They don't have a midweek game this week. They are off till Sunday. They have a full week of rest this week. So they do get to rest while Vandy has to play Thursday night this week. So I don't know if that will help the girls or not, but they do get the rest this week. They lost by 1 at home. And they're just going to have to defend. They're going to have to be ready for that freshman point guard that's with Michaela Blakes. She's tough. They have seen her now. They know how tough she is defensively. They ought to be more prepared for that this Sunday at Vanderbilt. And, John, this is going to be an important one, I believe.
Yeah, I think you got to win this game. I mean, if you're wanting to get the, hosting in the tournament, I think you got to
even at home, John, beating South Carolina is not going to be easy.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, even at home.
I mean, I
think this is the one that you have to focus on.
They went into LSU and beat LSU, so
yeah. I mean, Kentucky did too, but it's going to be tough to beat South Carolina at home. So here's what I want to say. Last year, the Kentucky girls got that double bye. They got that 4 spot, got that double bye. With Tiani out, they took a few losses that they probably shouldn't have taken this year. They're kind of out for that top 4 bye. But maintaining a top 8 is important as well because the top 8 play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get 4 games. If you're outside of that top 8, you got to play 5 games in 5 days in the SEC tournament.
It's tough.
You got to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to win the SEC tournament. I'm going to be honest with you, John. I have been covering the girls, the women's side of this for 3.5 years. I don't think there's any way a team could come from Wednesday and win the women's SEC tournament. I just don't see it happening.
It'll be tough.
You might win a couple of games.
Yeah,
but I just the wear and tear, the physicality of this league will wear you out. I just don't see it. Maintaining that top 8 position And getting a win at Vandy and Auburn next week would probably secure that spot to be at least in the top 8.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That's going to be a huge, huge deal for the girls. So that's kind of their remaining schedule. I'm hoping the girls can get a win or two in the SEC tournament. It's going to be tough, John. The SEC tournament is, you got South Carolina that's looking head and shoulders above everybody now. You got Vandy, you've got Texas, you've got LSU, you've got Oklahoma. I mean, it's tough in the SEC, tough goings.
It's brutal.
So just getting there, getting a couple of wins would be big for this girls team because it absolutely would lock up a host site more than likely if they could get there and do what I'm talking about, 2 wins and then get a couple of wins in the SEC tournament. That would absolutely lock them up for a 4 seed.
Yep.
Or 3 even, maybe. All right, John, that's going to wrap up our women's talk here. I do want to mention just a couple of things here today. John, Kentucky football announced their spring game. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So Kentucky didn't have a spring game, I don't believe, the last 2 years, maybe 3. Not a true spring game. Now Stoops has done a little bit of stuff, but it's been a while since we had a true spring game.
There's a lot of momentum on Will Stein's side right now.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had a true spring game. He's talking about pads on, full go, regular scrimmage, spring game. It was announced for April 18th, today, this evening, actually. So that's exciting. I know a lot of fans and a lot of recruits are excited about this game, John.
And another note, DJ Hunter decommitted tonight.
Did he?
From the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he had committed to the Stoops regime, so that's not a huge surprise.
Listen, y'all, all I'm going to say is there's a lot of buzz about some top quarterbacks landing in Lexington. And that's all I can tell you at this point. So.
There is. There's about 3 of the top quarterbacks in the 27 class that they are hot after, and it's sounding pretty good, to be honest with you. Adams.
One of them's a 5-star.
I think 2 of them are 5 stars, aren't they?
I think Adams and Elijah Haven.
The Elijah kid, yeah. So, yeah, they are.
Full time, man. I'm happy about it. There needed to be a little bit of energy injected into this program. He's done that. He's got them on a buzz. This is the most, I'll be honest with you, I've seen when it comes to rivals and seeing like Wilt Fong. I've not seen this in quite a while.
Yeah.
Just Kentucky name being mentioned in the middle of some of these kids.
A top 20 running back is scheduling a visit with us. It seems like Asa Barnes from Tennessee.
Right now, I feel like he's a Tennessee lean, but
he probably is. He's a Tennessee lean, but he's at least thinking about scheduling a visit with us.
Don't count out Will Stein.
Yeah, so I'm just saying there's a lot of buzz going on with recruiting right now with football, and this spring game is going to be a big deal for some of these recruits.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, man. Especially people that, like, even the players that are there. Like, getting the opportunity to, get out there and beat somebody up.
Yeah,
bust heads in the pads. I'm telling you, man, I'm like I said, I'm excited about football season and what we got in store coming up.
Absolutely. I do want to give a shout out to the Kentucky baseball team for their sweep of UNC Greensboro over the weekend on the road. A lot of good pitching. a lot of good pitching stars here. They swept. They had over 10 runs scored in each game. But there was one real big negative that happened over the weekend. Kentucky's best MLB draft pick, shortstop Tyler Bell, was injured in game 1 and did not play in 2 and 3. He is out indefinitely. And John, I'm hearing some rumors that it might not be good.
No, I've heard the same, and it's unfortunate. They got a tough schedule. Replacing him in the field, who replaces him in the lineup? Like, how do you pitch to the team? Like, to me, the next few weeks is going to be really.
So it sounds to me like, John, it's his one player being out is going to move like 4 or 5 players. So the second baseman, the guy that was going to be the starter at second, is going to slide over at shortstop. And then the guy that was going to do third is going to slide over to second, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of different lineups you can throw out
and then you got to bring somebody in at third, and then it's crazy. It's gonna like.
They got Ethan Hindle.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. Tyler Kearney. He's an Indiana transfer. I feel like that will probably be his position.
And then it affects the DH because one of those guys was the DH. So now he's not the DH.
Well, then you got the Elon transfer, Alex Duffy, the catcher.
Yeah. Right.
The biggest to me was the depth that they have. That even without Bell. But the fact of the matter is, you still miss that presence and his hitting in the lineup. Somebody's going to have to step up and make some hits, make some plays.
I mean, let's all say a little prayer tonight that Tyler Bell gets to come back this year. I will say this, John, it's a shoulder. It's a shoulder injury. So Kentucky fans ought to know by now about shoulder stuff that's going on. So we'll see. They play tomorrow.
I will say real quick, Ryan Schwartz, I think he went 4 for 4 this week.
Absolutely.
He's going to be really good for them. They got a really good overall depth.
Yeah, and their pitching staff is great.
Yeah, Cleaver, Ben Cleaver.
Yep, Ben Cleaver, yeah.
What's his nickname you said?
The Slim Reaper.
The Slim Reaper, yep.
Yeah. They start tomorrow. Their home opener is tomorrow. It's against a Kentucky school, and I'm probably going to say this wrong. It's either Moorhead or Murray. I'm not sure which one it is. I seen it, but I cannot remember. I think it's either Moorhead. I think it's Moorhead that they play tomorrow at home about 4:00 in the afternoon tomorrow, I believe, is their home opener. And then they play I believe on the road again this weekend, and I cannot remember where it is right off the top of my head. But I'm hoping the Cats, they do have 4 games this week, and I'm hoping that they – Moorhead? Yeah. That's what I was thinking. It's Moorhead tomorrow. And then I'm not sure who they play this weekend, but it's I think it's on the road, I believe.
It's Evansville. I was just looking it up on ESPN.
Okay, Evansville.
The Northern.
Yeah. All right. So that's with the baseball Cats. So I just want to talk about them, and then we've been talking about softball here just a little bit, and I want to give you an update. They did complete their what was supposed to be an 11 game. One of the games got canceled out there. They wound up 6-4 on this California trip on the road. They did complete that over the weekend on Sunday, yesterday, and they went 6-4. They started 6-2, which was really good, but then they ended up with 2 ranked teams. They played Stanford and Oregon, that are both ranked in the teens. like 14, 16, somewhere around there in the polls. They played 2 ranked teams and got beat by 2 ranked teams. So they're coming home 6-4, John.
Yeah, I mean, the girls have hit a tough spot. I mean, they wouldn't expect it to be at the top of the mountaintop this year. That was
no, they wasn't ranked this year. So
lost some pieces a little bit, but you know, it's early in the year. Like you're especially in softball and baseball. Everybody's basketball. You lose a couple games, the season's over. Like
feels that way.
But softball and baseball, like
no, you got a long way to go. Yeah,
long season. 1 or 2 losses are not really going to, affect you this early in the year. So, what's up?
Well,
Mike?
I mean, they did beat 1 ranked team. They beat Stanford. They played Stanford twice. They beat Stanford once, I believe, and lost once. So it's not like they lost to all of them. They did win one of the games versus ranked teams over the stretch there for their California trip.
Michael finally showed up at our show. Finally,
yeah, I see that. What's up, Michael? So the girls, they went out there. They have a freshman that threw a no-hitter in a first start, and they do seem to have some pitching. So pitching is always going to keep you in games if you got real good pitching. So
I just kind of wonder if he's locked Mark Lawson up in the closet somewhere.
Mark's probably calling a game somewhere. Well, they may be over with now.
If I'm guessing, yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Those guys, they're my buddies.
Yeah.
Good luck
all
tomorrow,
right, y'all.
man. Have fun, man. By the way.
Yeah, I am planning on heading to Lexington tomorrow night. It is going to be a late one, so it'll be late when I get in.
To be fair, you are driving from Bowling Green, so
yeah. It'll be late when I get in tomorrow night, especially after that one, because you're talking 9. It'll be like 11:20 probably when the game's over. You got another hour, it'd be 12:20. Then trying to get back. I mean, you're talking.
Let's just hope for a win tomorrow night because Brad coming home.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to thank you for being with us. I want to thank Kentucky for the opportunity to do this with you guys and have some fun. This has been a great deal for John and I to be able to be a part of this. So just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for watching it. If you watched an episode of our show that we taped recorded a year ago, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. So if you find it on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, you can rewatch most of what we do, all of what we do, if you can find it. So I just appreciate everyone and Kentucky and the SEC and
shout out Joseph Decker again.
Yeah, Joseph Decker being on. He was great, man. For an 18-year-old kid, he had all kinds of knowledge and he knew it all.
He was flipping from one page to the next.
Yeah, man, he was great. I love to have him on before the Sweet 16.
I would definitely do that. But
yeah.
Our next show will probably be Friday night, most likely. So
yeah, we'll come on Friday night and do our game day pick'ems and a little bit of Big Fuss. We'll talk about some bracketology. I think we're supposed to have NKY with us this week on Friday.
Yeah, we got a bracketologist coming on. I've lined up a lot of guests this week.
Yeah,
we might need a rest next week.
Yeah. I think we got NKY coming up for bracketology. So if you're into March Madness and stuff and trying to find out if your team might be able to get in, we're going to cover some games with him on, and I'm going to do probably add a few games with some bubble teams so he can kind of talk about the teams and what they have to do to get in and things of that nature on our game day pick'ems on Friday night. All right. That sounds great. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great weekend, a great week. I'm sorry. It's Monday. Lost track of what day it is. A great week, and we will see you guys.
You need to go to bed, brother.
We'll see you on Friday.
Have a good one.
All right.